The obvious reason the red team won the game was total domination on the backboard, 42-24 on the backboard. They just dominated the glass, and you know, for Chris being 5'9" and for Terry being 6'1", you know, you get 15 rebounds from the 1-2 spot, which was terrific, where the guards didn't rebound on the white team. So that was the difference in the game, total domination on the backboard. A lot of good things, a lot of things that we need to work on. The red team really moved the ball better and made each other better. As you watched, you know, one time, 2 times Chris would bring the ball up the floor and run the show, and then the next time Terry would run the show. So we've been playing with a 2-point system, and it's worked out very well because both of those guys are very difficult to guard. I also think Wayne Blackshear's rebounding the basketball. He's playing good ball as well. I think Mango, when he learns just passing skills, will be a very effective player for us. So overall, it was good. Much better defense this week than last week, and hopefully we'll combine the next scrimmage to see even better things.
What we saw from Chris last week and again today were just incomparable stats. Is that what you see every day?
Chris or Terry?
Jones.
Well, I don't think he had great stats his first scrimmage. I think he had great stats today.
Right.
I think Terry had great stats last time.
But he looks in control of the ball.
I think Chris is a terrific basketball player. You know, he's a junior college player of the year for a reason. But, you know, all those guys, those 2 guys are very talented, and very pleased with both guys. They're exactly what we needed, and they're terrific. I like the way they played today. They're both under control, but, you know, when you get 15 rebounds from your backcourt, that's great. You also got 9 assists from your backcourt, 5 steals from your backcourt. Those are against good players.
That was a pretty run-of-the-mill end to the game there for Rozier.
Yeah,
normal play.
Pretty terrific there. You know, it's, and I don't say it's you guys, but, you know, we felt, you know, when Richard recruited him, he said, in his opinion, he said, look, I don't care. They rated him like wherever he was, like in the 40s or 50s. He said, I think he's top 3 players in the country. And that was his opinion. Then he goes to prep school and they don't get ranked anymore. But Richard, in evaluating him, thought he was he would put him in the top 3 guards in the country. So, you know, I followed his lead, and we recruited him very hard, and I think you see he's a pro, too. He doesn't show a whole lot of emotion, negative emotion. He plays every possession just like a pro would play it.
Coach Russ had 9 turnovers, 8 assists today as the primary ball handler for the white team. What do you think about him running the point?
He didn't play well today. He played very well the game before. But, you know, the difference is Chris and Terry were giving each other breaks. Russ didn't get a break. You know, and that's a difference maker. Tim is not a ball handler. So if you know, every time Terry would handle it, Chris would go down the court, get a little blow, and they were both feeding off each other. But very, very smart game by those 2 guys. Russ just didn't get a blow, and he was trying to take on everybody by himself.
You mentioned in one of the timeouts the hand checking and the emphasis with these aggressive guys. I'm sure they're focusing on that in this game. How are they handling the emphasis on that?
You know, obviously we're going to gain a lot on offense and you lose on defense, but, you know, I think I told you this before. I was on a committee, God, it had to be 15 years ago, with 10 other coaches, 10 other general managers, all got together by Commissioner Stern to try and do something about scoring in the NBA. We all brainstormed and tried to do something, and in the end, the only thing that helped that we came up with was 8 seconds in the backcourt. By and large, the reason, there was only one team at the time breaking 100 points. What happened is they changed the officiating in the NBA, where you can't hand check, you can't stop freedom of movement, and when you call fouls, the clock stops, more points are scored, and then the players adjust to it. Now, the first 2 weeks, it's not good. But in college basketball, you remember one in the Big East 2 years ago, I think Cincinnati had 13 at halftime. Mm-hmm. You saw 2 Pac-10 teams this year not have 15 at halftime. So you need scoring, and the reason the scoring is down is all the forearms, the hand checking, the lack of movement on offense and fluidity. And so they're going to change the game to let this create more motion, more passing, more cutting on offense, and less hand checking.
It seems like, defensively they're so intense, but it seems like you think it's going to be more beneficial to you guys than worrying about the fouls on the other end.
Well, I don't really worry about the fouls. It's not going to alter our style.
Mm-hmm.
We're still going to press, but we've got, I think where it's going to help, but we've got a very deep bench. So, there's not a whole lot of difference between our first unit and the second unit. And remember, Luke Hancock's not even out there right now. And Mango is improving each week. He's getting better and better and better. He was a major factor out there.
Were you surprised that the white team got out-rebounded so heavily with Shane and Montrez both being on the white squad?
Well, it's really not Shane and Montrez as much as the 1, 2, and the 3 backcourt players of the white team. They didn't do their job. They let Terry Rozier and Chris Jones rebound the ball. Now, I will say this, that Terry Rozier has always been a great rebounder. In high school, he's a great rebounder. Chris has always been a great rebounder. So those two guys, you don't look at their size, you look at the size of their heart. They're big-time players. I love those two kids. They're terrific players.
Coach, in terms of attitude, how do you think the players are handling just the, for lack of a better word, pressure of having to carry on?
Can you give me some drink?
Yeah.
Bourbon.
But how do you think your players are handling just the pressure of trying to repeat versus maybe the attitude of your 97 team?
I think they're similar in many respects, except the 97 team lost 4 starters. This team has not done that. They still went back. This team, we look at pressure as a great thing. It really forces you. When the expectations are high, it forces you to be alert with every factor of the game of basketball. So pressure is certainly not only a privilege, but it's something we really love because that brings out the best in you. And these are really tough kids. These are not your run-of-the-mill guys where, they bend. They're tough guys, every one of them. Chris Jones, Russ Smith, Terry Rozier, they are tough kids. They don't back down to anybody. Montrez, Shane are tough people. They're not going to panic. They're not. Now we have to improve Mango, and he's getting there. We need him to improve, and we think he will improve. So he's a big key to our basketball team.
Are you pleased with Vantrese's offensive effort today?
Not particularly, no.
Still needs to look more for a shot.
It's not that he has to look more for a shot. He is what he is. I think Stephen played a very poor defensive game today in playing Russ Smith the right way on pick and rolls. But I just think he needs to, when he grabs rebounds, go up and dunk the ball because he can jump instead of short-arming shots. Go up and dunk the ball. If you get fouled, you get fouled. Like his 2 free throws at the end of the game, even the one he missed, looked good. So it's just got to be a different mindset for him. That was his mindset in high school. He's got to look at the basket, go up and tear it down, dunk the ball.
With Mango, talk about it seemed like he was more aggressive, or he's getting more aggressive. Is that a big part of it too?
Yeah, because Mango, you can't start Shane and Montrez. You can't, because if they each get 2 fouls, then you're going to play with Mango and Vantrese. It's really going to hurt you. You can get down by 12, 14 points. You got to have them on the court at the end of the game, but then you'll have them on the court with guys like Chris and Rozier and Russ, and Chris and Rozier has shown every day that they rebound the ball, so they'll help those guys tremendously.
Russ talked today a little earlier about when you gave him this kind of NBA evaluation that it hurt to hear it. It hurt to hear that NBA teams didn't think he was a first-round pick. What do you remember kind of about his reaction, and I guess is that something you've seen that's kind of driven him this summer?
Here's what Russ has to do. He's got to become more like Peyton Siva off the court. Peyton Siva and I had conversations. I said, you're going to get drafted in the 2nd round, son. And I guarantee you make the squad. Guaranteed. And I told all of you I thought he'd have a long career in the NBA because of his attitude. So Russ Smith's got to stop worrying about the NBA. Peyton never worried about the NBA for 1 second. He just worried about having fun, getting his team to win, and didn't concern himself with that. So 2nd round draft choices make the NBA if they have that Peyton Siva attitude. So that's what Russ has got to develop. He shouldn't worry about whether he's a first or a second. He should worry about getting better, helping his team win, improving his body, and those things. And I think he will do that. But Peyton never worried a day in his life, and he's still not worrying. Neither did Gorky, to be honest with you. See, that's stress. That's the difference between pressure. That's stress. What he's doing to himself at times is putting stress on himself, and stress is the enemy. We want no part of that.
Is this also an evaluation of your coaches too? Seeing how not like you evaluating, but like this is their chance to coach a team and be out there. I mean, Kevin, of course, was there at Hargrave, but what do they add to you in these kind of situations from their perspective?
I don't evaluate the coaches. They're great coaches. So, we hire head coaches here. We don't hire assistants. So they're all terrific. They're all outstanding. So I don't evaluate them. They've already arrived.
But you always have walk-ons. You talk about the two this year with Dylan and David.
These aren't your typical walk-ons like Tim Henderson. Tim Henderson was physically tough when he came in. These guys are basically red shirts, walk-ons. They're physically not ready to play at this level. Although they both have talent, their bodies don't allow them to compete at this level. Now, Dylan's a tough little kid, and he competes. He gets knocked down. He competes. But the great thing for both of those guys is they're going against the best guards in the country every day, and those guys don't say, oh, well, you're just 150 pounds, so we'll lighten up. No, these guys try to kill them every day, and that's competition is what makes people great. Like Kyle Curick became terrific because T-Will just killed him every day. And for Russ and Chris and Terry to go against each other each day, they improve by osmosis because the competition's so keen. That's how you get better. Competition makes you better.